Copilot is basically Microsoft's answer to AI assistants. It aims to alleviate some of the work in repeatable day-to-day processes within Microsoft's various business apps. In the marketing app, these features exist within the real-time journeys module, which is the new default experience when you're using that customer insights journey app. A lot of the features in Copilot within the marketing app aim to give users a kind of a better jumping off point when they're creating new emails, segments, and customer journeys. And so let's kind of start by looking at the features within the email designer. I have just a super basic email that I want to use Copilot to get some ideas on. I've got a general idea for what the intent of the email is. It's going to be, a May sale, but I'm not entirely sure what I want some of the text content to look like. I can open up this content ideas tab on the toolbox to start generating some ideas. So it's going to be asking me for 3 to 5 key points that I want to highlight throughout the email. And then up at the top, there is also this option to see some example points for different types of messages like events or promotions. And we can also change the desired tone of voice with this dropdown. Then I can simply hit this Get Ideas button and a list of a few different body texts will be generated. Once they're up, I'm going to just read through them and see if there are any particular that I like. And I noticed that a lot of them have this product name showing up here within there. And I actually want to have this be going for all products rather than a specific product. So I'm going to hit the back button up here and add in a 5th key point. It's going to be a sale on all products store-wide. And then I can regenerate my ideas. And once I've found one that I like, I can go ahead and either drag it and drop it onto the email like you would for any other element, or you could click the Add to My Draft button at the top. I created a new segment, and you may have seen this when you're setting up a segment in real-time journeys. We have this Query Assist. This feature basically just aims to similarly provide a little push to make it easier to get started with creating a segment. It works by allowing you to use a more natural language to generate at least part of the segment. So we could write something in like contacts that recently opened an email. And then after it thinks for a second, we'll see this result show up and we can add it directly into the segment designer. All we would need to do here is add in our email. In addition to generating the pieces of the segment, we have this explain my segment section. When I'm going through and making segments, I usually like to take a step back and kind of put aside the intended goal of the segment and try to verbally describe what my segment is doing based solely on the filters currently within the designer. And I find that's very helpful in finding, pieces that seem out of place or just otherwise incorrect. And that's kind of essentially what this explain my segment section is for, is Copilot will just try to analyze the filters that you have in on your segment to give a summary and a slightly more natural description that might be easier for people to think about rather than all of these different and ors or but not statements. We also have this suggested improvement section, which is going to just help reduce redundancies or if there's any sort of conflicting filters, that kind of deal. If there's something that Copilot sees as an issue within your segment, it'll point it out here. We can also just use this describe to design it feature for each different block within the segment as well. We would just need to keep writing in each of the pieces within this or in making adjustments as necessary. So for example, contacts who aren't in Canada, and it would show up here and add it into the segment. Lastly, we can also create journeys using that similar query assist style natural language builder. You can see that when we create a new journey that it's going to prompt us with this Copilot screen. We could write in our own option or use one of the provided things such as an event registration and check-in reminder. When we select this, it starts working through this process, and sometimes it'll need some extra information, in this case, such as which trigger is going to be specifically used in this circumstance. So we'll be using this marketing event registration created. And then if we want to specify a specific event or leave it open for all events. Then proceeding through this creation process, we're going to get this written description of the journey, and it's going to show us what the journey is going to look like in terms of just written text if you visualize that way, as well as show a preview on the right-hand side. Then all we'll need to do is hit the create journey button and we'll see it now in our designer. So in this circumstance, there'd be a couple details we'd want to go back through, like add in the email within our email step and adjust the if-then branch as needed. When you're getting a bit more complex, with journeys or segments, you're more likely to run into some issues. So you want to make sure that you're going to be doing some checking back through the content that gets generated for you.